friends! Happy pre-Thanksgiving. It's Emma Figgling with TYT Politics here, kitchen cam. I had to kick my mom out, who was making a pie. I was like, we actually have to talk about Donald Trump, so the pie can wait. Madam, the pie can wait. That'll be my new campaign slogan. The pie can wait. Trump's here. So, while Jordan is in Standing Rock, definitely go check out those videos, youtube.com/TYTpolitics. That's where you are at now, so keep checking those out. youtube.com/TYTpolitics. Jordan is in Standing Rock for Thanksgiving, which is unbelievable. He's, of course, the hardest working man in news, and I'm here at home trying to find a quiet place away from my family to do a Trump video. So, his struggle seems to be a little bit more real than mine, but I digress. So, Donald Trump, while the rest of the media is focused on Mike Pence at Hamilton and what happened in those hallowed halls on Broadway, Donald Trump is quietly building his tax plan and has no barriers into implementing it because he has a Republican House, a Republican Senate, and 69 out of 99 of the state legislatures in the country are Republican right now. So they're like, gimme those tax breaks. We thought that George W. Bush was too soft. We want more tax cuts for the rich, more tax cuts for our donors. And you know who's going to deliver that to you? The guy who said that he was going to drain the swamp and was actually going to work for the working class people. Oh, laugh with me here. Laugh with me, won't you? Here is an article from the wonderful Guardian, which always has excellent articles and really lays out the disastrous implications of Donald Trump's tax plan. So this is called Trump's tax plan: massive cuts for the 1% will usher era of dynastic wealth. President Donald Trump is set to give America's richest 1% an average annual tax cut of $214,000 when he takes office, while more than 8 million families with children are expected to suffer financially under his proposed tax plan. On the eve of the election, Trump proposed to massively cut taxes for the middle class, the forgotten people, the forgotten men and women of the country who built our country. That is a quote from him. But independent expert analyses of Trump's tax plan show that America's millionaire and billionaire class will win big at the expense of struggling low and middle income people who turned out in large numbers to help the real estate billionaire win the election. What do you know? He's a sham. He is a con man, and that's what we were telling you leading up to the election. It gets worse. Experts warn that Trump's plan will exacerbate America's already chronic income inequality and herald a new era of dynastic wealth. The Trump tax plan is heavily skewed to the most wealthy, who will receive huge savings, says Lily Batchelder, a law professor and tax expert at New York University. At the same time, millions of low-income families, particularly single-parent households, will face an increase. The president-elect's plan significantly raises taxes for at least 8.5 million families, with especially large tax increases for working single parents. Right, the people that need the tax breaks the most will get tax increases. Sounds like Donald Trump to you, right? More than 26 million individuals live in those families that will receive tax increases in single-parent families. According to Batchelor's research, Trump's tax changes taken at their most conservative could leave just over half of America's nearly 11 million single-parent households facing an increased tax burden. The figure rises to 61%, or 7 million households, if the analysis is run on reasonable assumptions that the changes Trump has suggested go ahead. Single-parent families would suffer the most because Trump would lower the minimum of tax-free earnings to $15,000 per adult, no matter how many children are in the household. Under current law, the threshold is $17,400, not even great, for single-parent families with one child, and $24,750 for a couple with one child, and the threshold increases by $4,050 for each additional child. Trump also plans to consolidate the current 7 tax brackets into 3, of course, oversimplification, that seems to be Trump's MO, 3 tax brackets: 12%, 25%, and 33%. 12%! His plan would scrap the current 10% tax for earnings under $19,625 and replace it with 12%. Trump's proposed child care credits would not make up for the changes, according to Batchelor. So, this, by the way, is Bush on steroids. This is George W. Bush's tax cuts on steroids. And we don't even need to replay the nightmare of how that turned out. We know how that turned out. Economic recession, disaster in the country. Obama had to stabilize the economy. We wish he did certain things differently, wish he was more of a New Deal Democrat. But things are certainly on the up and up compared to what they were. Now Donald Trump hasn't learned a thing from that. No, enrich me. Enrich the people I hang out with. That's what I think is best. And he's too stupid to really know what works. So when he surrounds himself with people who just say, this is the best thing for the country. This is going to make us wealthy. This is going to make your donors happy. It's going to make the Republican Party happy. Just go ahead and do it. He's going to do it. You think that he thought up this tax plan and had the intricacies of the tax plan in mind when he ran for president? No. He had a team of conservative people that came up with it for him. And now it's their dream. They have no roadblocks in their path. Nothing. Absolute power. And you know what? What the first thing they're going to do? Crush those single-parent families. Sounds right. Sounds just about right. Minority families are set to suffer disproportionately from the tax increases, according to Batchelor, with 32% of American families facing a tax increase compared to 19% of whites. This is mostly due to African American families being more likely to share the burden of childcare within the family and hence not benefit as much from Trump childcare credits. So when he said, African Americans, what do you have to lose by voting for me? Seems like a lot. Seems like they have a lot to lose. Batchelor said the effective tax increase for millions of families would run into the thousands. While the poor will face tax increases, the Tax Policy Center research says the rich would receive big tax cuts that get even bigger as you work up the income scale. The top 20% of earners would receive an average annual tax cut of $16,660, compared with an overall average tax cut of $2,940. Look at that jump. $16,660 compared to an overall average tax cut of $2,940. Insane. The richest 1% will collect 47%. The 1% will collect 47% of the tax cuts, an average saving of $214,000. Let me repeat that for you. The richest 1% in the country will receive 47% of the tax cuts. When people say that, by the way, Hillary Clinton and her team tried to tie Bernie and Trump together in the same sexist coin, give me a frickin' break. This guy wants to exacerbate the already crippling income inequality in the country. This is the opposite of what we need. The 0.1%, the 117,000 households with incomes of more than $3.7 million would receive an average 2017 tax cut of $1.3 million, a nearly 19% drop in tax they were due to pay in 2016. The tax savings of the super rich will increase further in the future, with the 0.1% estimated 2025 tax bill to fall by $1.5 million. It is a stark contrast to Hillary Clinton's tax plan, which would have seen tax rises for the super wealthy. Under her plan, the top 1% would pay an extra $16. You can hear me again. It is a stark contrast to Hillary Clinton's tax plan, which would have seen tax rises for the super wealthy. Under her plan, the top 1% would pay an extra $163,000 a year more on average, and would have made up 93% of all. So she would guaranteed do deals with the Republicans. Yeah, we'll increase taxes on the wealthy, but we'll give these corporate tax loopholes. We'll do this. We'll give whatever various blowjobs to corporations. Don't worry about it. We have your back, super wealthy. But is this better than Donald Trump's plan? Come on. Come on. Both equally evil, guys? Come on. Also, so yes, this is Bush tax cuts on steroids. 100%. We know how that turned out. But we've already actually had this experiment, thanks to the lovely Republican legislature and governor in Kansas. I will read from Governing, which says that Trump's tax plan sound familiar? Kansas enacted a similar one, and its economy tanked. President-elect Donald Trump proposed a tax plan for the nation that is similar to Governor Sam Brownback's self-proclaimed real-life experiment tax plan enacted in 2012. You know how that experiment turned out? We'll see. Both plans include a rate cut for individual income tax and cuts for business income, analysts say. Kansas faces a nearly $350 million budget gap for the current fiscal year, which runs through June. The budget gap has forced the state to make cuts to most state agencies, the state pension system, highway projects, and universities. In September, the Federal Reserve Bank of Philadelphia ranked Kansas 50th in the nation. There's 50 states in the country, by the way, so 50th out of 50. Oh, that makes you dead goddamn last. So I wonder how that experiment turned out. Federal Reserve Bank of Philadelphia ranked Kansas 50th in the nation for employment growth, manufacturing hours worked, unemployment rate, and wage growth. Last. So how did that experiment turn out, Brownback? An economist with the Washington-based low-tax advocate Tax Foundation told Mississippi lawmakers evaluating planned tax cuts that Kansas is an example of what not to do with tax reform. Brownback has stood up by his tax plan and said that he is happy that Trump plans to implement a similar strategy at the national level. I would think that you're happy because you're really enriched by this plan, no matter how it actually affects the lowest income people in your state, but when you're donors and when you actually get some money out of it, that's fine, right? I am pleased that the president-elect understands the importance of revitalizing the American economy by creating an environment that keeps jobs in America and encourages the growth of both large and small businesses. I think the large part is the one you care most about, right? Large businesses that line your pockets. Just as we did in Kansas, the president-elect intends to lower taxes on both individual Americans who are working hard to build a future for themselves. That's a lie. And their families, and create a favorable environment for the small businesses that drive growth and create jobs. The national economy has been lethargic for a long time, and it's good that the president-elect wants to take decisive actions to move our nation forward. Or move our nation into the ground, which is probably a more apt phrase. So, here we go, guys. Buckle up. Buckle up. Some of you said to me, oh, that, Trump and Hillary Clinton are just as bad. We'll see. If he's copying this tax plan from Kansas, brace yourselves for a recession of epic proportions. So, while we could have gone populism on the light with Bernie Sanders, who could have actually addressed income inequality, since all of our politicians, Democrats, Republicans included, have been asleep at the wheel for God knows how long in terms of income inequality, then just brace yourselves, because we could have had someone that actually addressed that, Bernie Sanders, and now we have someone who's addressing it, certainly, but he thinks it's awesome. Income inequality is awesome, and let's make it worse. And now he has no roadblocks in his way. So we can make an argument. Yeah, maybe Trump is better for the progressive movement in the long run. But did the ends justify the means? Because these next, at minimum 2 years, are going to be devastating for working people in this country. So, all right, guys. Have a good Thanksgiving. I'm sorry that this live stream was broken up a little. I got like 80 calls. So, gotta figure out that airplane mode thing. All right. Ooh, tickle in my throat. Have a good day, guys.